Welcome to the Bag Maker's Workroom. I am Chris with Simply Classic, and today's Thursday, March 19th, 2026. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. I always forget that, for us it's evening, it's 7 o'clock at night, but for a lot of you, it's probably like mid-afternoon, right? So no matter what time of day it is or where you are around the world, I want to thank you for taking a little time out of your day to join us. We really appreciate it. And whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, we always appreciate your support. We do go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't join us live, of course, you can watch the replay at any time on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified when I post a new video or when we go live. So I want to say hi to Donna Stafford. She says, good evening from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. The snowstorm is melting. Great. Ellen says, greetings from Wisconsin. Glad to catch the live. And then Sonia says, hello from Beverly Hills, California, or Florida. I want to say Beverly Hills. No, I'm automatically thinking California, Florida. Well, I know a lot of you have really been buried with snow, and here it's starting to warm up, although we had a little cold snap this past week. It got pretty chilly. But hopefully, wherever you are, the snow is starting to melt and you're starting to get out and think about spring a little bit, because it's always a good time of year. Here in Augusta, basically from about a week to 2 weeks ago until beginning of April, it's like raining pollen, and we have yellow pollen everywhere. I cover all my outdoor furniture, everything on my porches, everything's covered with sheets, and you can't get out. And it's a beautiful time of year. We always love to get outside, but you just can't do it this time of year. So we're excited. We can't wait for the pollen to be gone. That's always the best thing here in Augusta, Georgia. And usually by the Masters tournament, it's about done. So that's always a good thing. So today is the sewing episode, and here's what we have planned. We're going to start by going over what's new in the Simply Classic Scoop, and then I'm going to show you how to install the front zipper on the Farfalla bag. Okay, so this zipper right here that you see. Next, we're going to make some really cute bag charms, and then, of course, we're going to feature your bags in Artistry Avenue and give away some patterns and do a Q&A at the end. So before we get started, please take a second to click the thumbs up button. It really does help us. We really do appreciate it when you do that. The YouTube, we're so close to 20,000 subscribers. And so we're really excited. The channel's growing quite a bit, and we appreciate it. It's all because of you. So now it's time for the Simply Classic Scoop, and this is where I tell you what's going on here at Simply Classic, what's kind of going on behind the scenes. And the first thing I want to do is just kind of throw up this reminder of the live streams that we have coming up. We have some really fun topics planned, including a Zara hack that I'm really excited about. So I hope you'll join us each Thursday. If you have any questions or topic ideas, we'd love to hear them. You can email share@simplyclassic.net with your suggestions. We also have some events coming up, and I've kind of been talking about these for a little while, so we're just going to run through them real quick. So this is kind of a summary. But March, our sew-along will be next Tuesday, the 24th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be turning the Kaplan into a messenger style bag that's a little more gender neutral. If you can't join us live, but you still want to participate, feel free to register, and we'll send you the recording afterwards. Then in April, we have another online leather class, the Nina, and students will be, of course, making this gorgeous bag you see here with lamb skin leather. You're going to learn some new techniques in the process, and we're actually in the middle of a Nina class right now, and the students are having a great time. July 10th through 12th, I'll be teaching 2 workshops at A&A Sewing in Broussard, Louisiana. We're going to be making the Julie and the Sorella, like you see here. And then finally, in August, I'll be teaching at Sack Bag and Sew in Sacramento. There are still some spots available in most, if not all, of my workshops and classes, and I'm teaching a variety of different length classes, and some are hands-on, some are lectures, and all different kinds of things. So make sure you check those out if you plan to attend the expo. It was really a great time last year. We really enjoyed it. So you can find links to sign up for all of these events down below in the video description and on our events page on our website. And don't forget to visit our events page regularly because we're always updating that. Now I am so excited about this. This is new. This got posted this week. We are going to have a retreat here at our warehouse. So here in Thompson, Georgia, we're going to have a retreat from June 8th through the 12th. It's going to be a full week, Monday through Friday. It's actually going to be like 4.5 days. We're going to be making the talise out of leather. And the best part is that you get to choose the leather you want to work with. So on day one, we're going to go to the Simply Classic warehouse. You can select your leather and all your other supplies. You basically get to pick how you want to make your bag. There are obviously some different techniques that you can do with the talise, some different details. You get to decide what you want to do. And then after that, we're going to go over to the train depot. You can see a picture there in the upper left-hand side. It is in Thompson, Georgia, just about a mile from the warehouse. And it's literally an old train depot. The train tracks still run and the trains still run. And they changed it into an event center. And so it's really a great place. We're super excited about it. And that's where we're going to make our bags. Danny from Measuring Cut's going to bring in industrial machines. So you will be stitching on industrial machines. We're going to have flatbeds, but she's also going to have a cylinder arm there for us, in case we need it. Lunch is included each day. Okay. You will have to get breakfast on your own and then, of course, dinner. Now, there's a block of rooms reserved at the Hampton Inn in Thompson, and breakfast is included with the room. So, that's a great way to, of course, get breakfast. And then dinner, a lot of times we get together, we do a lot of fun things at dinner. We, go out to dinner together or some people get together. And so anyway, it's going to be fun. The cost is $1,275. That includes your kit. It includes lunch. Of course, it includes the use of the industrial machines. It includes, pretty much everything except for your room and getting here. Okay. And it's going to be a wonderful time. The retreat is very small. Okay. We only have a limited number of space and a limited number of machines. As of right now, it's half full. So it's not going to take long. And I'm sure that, it's going to fill up fairly quickly. Now, once it fills up, you can get on a waiting list. And if some reason somebody has to cancel, what somehow that always seems to happen, you will, assuming we can find a replacement, you'll get your money back except for $50. Okay. All right. So we have
a donation.
Gypsum of $5. A donation?
Ginger, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Believe me, we do. Every bit counts. Woo. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. So thank you. I appreciate that so much. Okay, we're going to move on to subscription box. It is subscription box time, finally. Okay, it seems like it's been a long time coming. So the subscription boxes were mailed this week, and you can subscribe right now if you want to get in on the deal. So for those of you who don't know, we have a seasonal subscription box that we send out 4 times a year: March, June, September, and December. Each box includes a brand new pattern and the materials you need to make the bag. We pick the best materials to complement the pattern in the season, so you don't have to, worry about what to use or trying to pull things from your stash or go buy anything new. The box includes the faux leather, the lining, the hardware you'll need, and now we're also starting to include the woven interfacing in there as well. The only things not included are the thread stabilizer. If there's any optional hardware, like sometimes rivets, we suggest rivets, they're optional, that's not included. But you, of course, will get your pattern and ad-free video and the materials and usually some other goodies in your box. So the total is $80 a month, and that means you're saving 20% on savings from retail prices. Now, you can choose to pay either yearly or quarterly. If you pay yearly, then you're going to pay $320 plus shipping on your first box only. We're going to pick up shipping for the other 3 boxes. So you save even more money. If you decide to pay quarterly, you'll pay shipping on each box. Okay, but you're also going to have the ability to cancel a course at any time during the year. You can skip a box. You can pause your subscription, all that. So this is new with our new website. A lot of you probably know that we have switched websites. And because of that, if you are a yearly subscriber, and it's not your quarter to resubscribe, okay? Maybe you subscribed last time, you're a yearly subscriber. You don't have to do anything. Your box is already on the way, or maybe you even already have it. If you are a quarterly subscriber, or if your year subscription's up, you're going to have to resubscribe. And the reason why is because when we switched websites, we don't have your payment information, okay? We don't have your credit card information on hand. I never see it ever. And so that's good, right? Because it obviously protects us, protects you, but we weren't able to grab all of your payment information and bring them over. So you're going to have to resubscribe. We sent you an email and we let you know that. And a lot of you have already done it and we really appreciate it. If you're not sure, reach out and let us know, but check your emails because we have emailed you. Check your spam folder if you don't see one from us too. But you know, this is going to be a fantastic thing. These subscriptions are going to automatically renew. So there's no more trying to remember what month did I sign up? Do I need to sign up again? All that's gone away. Okay. So it's a big improvement. We're super excited. This bag is totally different than any other bag I have done before. Okay. Totally different design, put together totally different. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but that's part of these subscription boxes. I try to challenge you a little bit. It's going to be fun, okay? Something, again, like you have never seen before. So I am super excited for you to get them, excited to see what you do with them, excited to see some of them, you know, get posted. Try to hold off posting until after the 31st so that everybody can get their subscription box. We don't have any spoiler alerts on the website or on the Facebook group. But, you know, again, we're excited about it. And if you have any questions, reach out to info@simplyclassic.net and we're happy to help. Okay, before we move on, we need to pick our giveaway winner from last week's episode. And as a reminder, we give away a PDF pattern to one person watching live and one person who watches the replay. So we have the name of everyone here who entered, and I'm going to draw one winner. To enter, we asked you to share your first name and your favorite bag charm that we looked at last week, okay? So if you remember, last week was all about bag charms, and we looked at several different ones. There were several florals. We had some keychain styles. We had a chain, like a charm bracelet style, you know, all these different cool ones. So let's see what we have, okay? We always appreciate you commenting and letting us know what you like. We'll answer our questions. So Elizabeth Jean, let's see if we can, let me turn this over. It's probably trying to get, there you go. Elizabeth Jean, love the 4-petal flower and keychain style bag charms. All right, thank you so much. We love those too. And we're actually going to be making that petal style one today a little bit later on. So congratulations on that. Make sure that you email share@simplyclassic.net within 30 days to claim your prize. And for everyone else, stick around because we're going to be doing another giveaway at the end of the show. So now it is time to sew. We're going to do 2 things today. First, I'm going to show you one small part of the Farfalla pattern that I think kind of intimidates some people, and it's how to install the front zipper pocket. So this front zipper pocket is what I'm talking about right here. It's in the seam. Okay, the zipper is in the seam, and it's put in differently than traditional different zipper pockets that we tend to put in. It's not difficult, okay, but it's a little bit different. So I recorded a really short video. I think it's, 10, 15 minutes. We're going to look at that. We're going to go over how to sew that. And then when we come back, we're going to make a few of the bag charms that we looked at last week live. Okay, so let's sew. Okay, in this sewing lesson, we are going to go over how to install a zipper in a seam. Okay, so the zipper is going to be part of a seam that we stitch here. It's a little bit different and it can be a little tricky. You definitely need to do a little measuring, so that's what we're going to start out by doing here. So I have my zipper and I have my main piece, of course. And the first thing I'm going to do is use some double-sided tape, and I'm going to place it right along this bottom edge of the indentation that we cut out. Okay, so from here, go ahead and remove the backing from the tape. And you want to center your zipper in the opening. Now I'm just going to kind of eyeball this, but you could certainly mark the centers and make sure it's good and centered. You want extra on each side, and you'll see why in a minute. Don't pull your zipper when you lay it down. Just go ahead and lay it down gently. Okay. And now what we're going to do is put some double-sided tape on the back side of the zipper tape here, and we're going to put our lining piece right on top. So my lining piece has that same indentation. I'm just going to line that up and place it down. Okay, and the sides, these little short sides, should match. So on the main part of the bag, of course, we have our stabilizer on here, and we don't want to stitch on our stabilizer. So whenever I have a situation like this, I always like to stitch with the side up that I can see my stabilizer. That way I make sure I don't stitch on top of it. And you're going to measure from, we're going to stitch at 1/4 inch, and you're going to measure from this edge right here, this point, and from this point you're going to measure 1/4 inch, because when we stitch, we're going to stitch basically from the indentation part all the way to the indentation part over here, but we don't want to stop right at the short edge. We want to stitch beyond it by 1/4 inch. So I'm going to actually measure this out and put a line or a dot where that is. Okay, so now you can see my marks here, and so we're going to stitch starting at that mark. We're going to stitch 1/4 inch from this edge, okay, so 1/4 inch down. So we're stitching from there all the way to the other mark beyond the indentation. And you do want to back stitch here. Okay, so you can see how I stitched starting right there at that mark, and the same thing on this side. Now what we're going to do is take our scissors, a nice good pair of sharp scissors, and right in this corner we're going to cut to our stitch line. Okay, we do the same thing over here. We're going to cut to that point. All right, so now we have that cut right in there. So from here, you're going to fold your zipper open, okay? Fold the lining back. It's going to kind of finger press this. And we're going to take the main part of our bag, we're going to fold it so that it's right sides together with the other main part of our bag, and the right sides together with the zipper. And this little side here, we're going to line up, just kind of let it fall naturally, but it's going to be roughly lined up with the top of the zipper. And we're going to take the lining piece and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold it so it's right side on itself. You got a little bit of double-sided tape in there. Let me unstick that. There we go. And you're going to fold it up so the straight edges are lined up with the top of the zipper. And we're going to wonder clip that in place. And then what we're going to end up doing is stitching 1/4 inch down right there. And then when we open this, it's going to form that side. Okay. So we're going to do that one more time.
me go ahead and, so we have our pocket lining folded back, just as if, you know, we put wrong sides together, and you see you have this zipper hanging out. So what we're going to do is take the main part of the bag, fold it on itself, so that the remaining, this upper top edge, okay, so remember this was an indentation. So the indentation was straight here, and then it got cut straight up. The top side of that side is what's going to go right against the right side of the zipper. And you can go ahead and just put a wonder clip there. And then we're going to turn this around, flip this over to the lining side. We're not lining up this edge. We're not lining up this edge. We're lining up the edge, this edge right here. Okay, so it's the edge that had that cutout. We're going to flip it so that it lines up with the top of the zipper tape. Okay, and that's what makes it a little bit challenging and confusing, I think, is which edge do you line up. So essentially you want this piece to be folded back on itself. Okay, see how these two pieces are kind of folded back on itself. So now what we're going to do is start and up here and just stitch to the point where we cut. So basically our stitches match up. We're just going to do a little stitch right there, and we're going to do a little stitch over here on this side. Don't stitch on your stabilizer. Okay, you can stitch right next to it, and we're just going to be essentially grabbing the lining, the zipper, and the main part of the bag. Now, before you do this, you need to make sure you put your zipper pull on. See, I almost forgot that. And in this bag, I want the zipper pull to be pulling up. So I'm going to install it from this end. So from here, let me take this off. I'm going to go ahead and put the zipper pull on this side. Okay, I'm going to turn this around. It's always easier for me to put it in from the back side. Now you could theoretically put your zipper pull on first before you stitch it to the main part of your bag. I like to wait because I don't want any possibility of there being any kind of bubble there, or you know, sometimes your zippers don't lay flat. I want to make sure that everything lays nice and flat, and I don't like to put my zipper pull on until the very last second that I have to. All right, looks like I'm off one tooth, so let me readjust. Okay, so zipper pull is on. All right, so we're going to do this again. We're going to fold this back on itself, line up that top edge, and the same thing over here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stitch these short little sides. Okay, so now that those are stitched, we can go ahead and remove our clips. And all we need to do is to fold the lining and the main part of the bag wrong sides together. Okay, this one kind of did it automatically. If you have any extra zipper, go ahead and cut it off. You don't want your zipper to end up in your seam allowance in any way. Okay, so from here, what you're going to do, of course you want to make sure your lining's laying nice and flat, is you're going to top stitch down all the way across and then back up this other little side. I'm just going to start on this side. Okay, so now we have a nice top stitched edge, and we have this side of our pocket. So from here, we need to install the other side of the pocket. Okay, we need to go ahead and lay that on. And what I'm going to do is use some double-sided tape here to help hold this in place. So I'm just going to put that right along the edge of my zipper. Again, your linings are right sides together, so just take your lining piece and place it right on your zipper tape. Okay, and then take your other side piece, your other main piece, which I have right here. I'm going to put that right sides together on this piece here and wonder clip that in place. And then we're going to stitch this using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When we open this up, we'll top stitch, and essentially we will have our pocket installed. Now, if you would like, it's going to be a little bit easier for us to stitch this pocket closed ahead of time, okay? Because we want to, obviously we have to make sure we close our pocket, because if we don't, then we have issues. And so, you know, feel free to do that before you stitch this piece on so that you can get as close as you can here. So I am going to do that. I'm going to take advantage of that and go ahead and just baste this using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. What's going to happen is when you get to about here, you're going to have to stop and then open this up and then stitch. Okay. Again, all this is to just help make sure that the pocket is closed all the way. So I'm going to start up here in this corner, do a stitch, go around, and then continue around the back. Now, in this case, you can make this bag either using a drop-in lining or leaving this pocket open to finish the bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this pocket, the whole thing, and just do the drop-in lining. And then right here, I'm going to cut my threads, and then I can go ahead and baste the rest of this zipper pocket on. Okay, so now my zipper pocket is closed. You can see that's going to go. And theoretically, you know, when I open this up, I already have that done, but of course we need to put our other piece on. So I'm going to go ahead and wonder clip that in place. And then when we do this row of stitching, we'll be doing it at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure all my edges are going to line up nice. Move this slightly up. So because of the angles and the corners on this bag, whenever you put things like this together, you're always going to have little pieces of the triangle that stick out about a 1/4 of an inch, and that will help make sure that when you open that piece up, everything's nice and flat and matches up at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to stitch this using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I need to move my zipper pull. I'm going to stitch it here. Let's see, stitch it from the side where the stabilizer is. So the key to getting your tops and your bottoms lined up is your stitching. You can see here the stitching has to meet right where the two connect. Okay, so by that happening, you see that this back part has to stick up a little bit, these little corners, and I have this little triangle sticking up. That's okay. You really want that to happen so that when you open this up, Now you can see how perfectly those edges line up. And then you can just cut that little triangle off. Okay, and that's nice and perfect. So from here, we are going to go ahead and top stitch this piece down. And once we do that, our zipper will be in place. Okay, and there you go. Now you have your zipper pocket completed. You have a nice big zipper pocket fully enclosed. The zipper is in the seam, and that is completed. So I hope that helps you get a nice, neat finish when you do these zipper pockets.
Okay, so as you saw, that process is not too challenging. It's just going through the steps in the right order and making sure you stitch to the exact places that you need to. So if you're unsure about making the farfalla, give it a try. I think you're going to be really surprised. As a reminder, the farfalla PDF pattern's on sale for $12.49 till next Wednesday, March 25th, and that discount will automatically apply when you add the PDF pattern to your cart. So it's going to look like it's $19.99, and you're going to probably wonder why it doesn't say $12.49, but when you add it to your cart, it'll go down. It's one of those things we're still working on with the website. So just, go through the process and you'll see it is discounted. So before we move on to bag charms, let's see if we had any questions. I did see a few pop up while we were watching the video. And so Rita asks, can a Janome Skyline 7 sew the materials in the quarterly bag box? So that's a really good question. I get that question a lot about different machines. And here's what it comes down to is if your machine has typically a DC motor, your domestic machine, then should not have any problems. If your machine has a 120 volt motor, that's really more of a quilting machine. So while we were watching the video, we looked it up, and the Janome Skyline 7 does have a DC motor, so you should be fine. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to make sure of is on some thick seams, you either may have to skip over the seam, or you may have to loosen the press-a-foot tension if you have a button that does that. But the pattern itself, we're using fairly thin material, so I think you're going to be fine with it. Okay, so Diane says, is Chris using her Burnett? So in that particular video, I did not. I used my domestic or my industrial machine, but the Farfalla is an excellent bag to make on a domestic machine. And I'll tell you why. First of all, one of the things that obviously gives us problems a lot of times when we're sewing on domestic machines is bulk, right? We get to a seam, we can't get over the bulk. Well, the Farfalla pattern, and we're going to go to the overhead here, and I'm going to show you in the overhead that it has the lining all the way up to the top of the bag here. Okay, there's no upper lining. So basically, you're just stitching a very thin lining at the seams to the outside. So it's really a great bag to do. The only place where you might have a little bit of bulk is right here because two seams come together, but the seams are a lining seam and a faux leather seam, and so it's less bulk than typical because you're not trying to match up faux leather to faux leather here. Okay, so it really is a great bag. All the other stitching is, really fairly easy to do, and it's pretty much all straight lines. I mean, the angles are in the bag and the pattern pieces, not in the sewing, and so you should be fine with that. Yeah, it's a really good question. Okay, and let's see if we have, I think that's it for questions. Okay, so now let's make some bag charms, right? So we're going to do this live and we see how this goes, because a lot of times when you do things live, something happens somehow. So we're just gonna chance it. So the first thing I want to do is show you something super, super easy. And I went to Walmart the other day and I found this. It's what they call a skinny scarf. Okay, it almost looks like a necktie length or width. It's not very wide. And it's really great to tie on bags because you can either tie it onto your strap, okay, your handles, or you can add it with a chain. So we're going to go to the overhead here, and I'm going to show you, this is our fairly new bulky chain. It's super big, okay? It is really beautiful, and it's aluminum. So first thing I'm going to do is, let's say you want to cut this to length. This is so easy to take apart because it is aluminum. All you're going to do is use a couple pairs of needle nose pliers. You're going to go ahead and put it in a link, open up the link, and there you go, voila. You can go ahead and remove as many links as you want or cut it at a certain point. You don't need any kind of special cutters. Needle nose pliers will do great, and you just open up the link. Now, all I did for this is I took the chain, and we're going to take this Farfalla back. It's not really going to match with this, but we're going to make pretend. And I just took the chain and wrapped it around. You can wrap it around a strap. In this case, I'm going to wrap it around the handle and just threaded the scarf through the links and tied a knot. And that was it. Okay, super easy bag charm. Great way to be able to add some color to a bag. So if you have, you know, a black bag or a brown bag or something that's fairly neutral and you want to add a pop of color, you know, what a great way to add something fun. You can add a scarf or something similar. It doesn't even have to be a finished scarf. You can just add a piece of fabric, something like that, to your bag. Okay, super easy, super fun. You can use a chain, you can use swivel clasps, you can use all kinds of things there to attach that, or even just tie it on. Okay. All right, now let's look at another one. A lot of you, including me, I really loved this little flower. Okay, this little flower is so cool, and it's super easy to make. So if you remember here, this picture over on the right is this flower, and it is, again, basically 2 pieces of leather. We're going to go to the overhead, and I'm going to show you what I've done. So here is some of my leather. You can see I have these little petal pieces cut out. I literally just freehanded this. Okay, I didn't even have a pattern piece. This is double-sided leather. So it's black on one side, pink on the other side. If you want double-sided, you could take 2 pieces of leather, glue them together, and then cut this out, and then you'll be good to go. And all I did was, like, here's one of the petal pieces. Okay, I'm going to turn this over on the black side so you can see it a little bit better. So I took my leather, I folded it in half, and what I wanted to make sure of is in the center here, I wanted to make sure that was 1 inch across. Okay, right here, 1 inch. So I just folded this in half, measured 1 inch. I'm going to bring a mat over here, and I just laid this down and measured 1 inch. I just marked it with a silver marking pen. Okay, and then from this fold, I measured up 2 inches. Okay, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to say right about there's 2 inches. Now, you can either just freehand it, you know, do something like this, which is what I did. And let me tell you, I am not an artist at all, okay? At all. But I just freehanded it. And then I took a pair of scissors and just cut that petal piece out. So I'm just going to kind of go around and up. I'm going to start up here at the point and come down. Kind of like, remember when you were kids, you made snowflakes, you folded the paper, you know, and it came out a certain way. And then so I have this. So from here, you can take off your silver mark or, you know, marking if you drew on it. And all I did was make 2 slits in the center of this flower. So I'm going to fold that in half, and I'm going to make 2 tiny slits. Okay, once my slits are made, I'm going to take this other petal and I'm just going to feed this through the slits. Now, because these slits are small, you want them small because you want this flower to kind of bunch up. So it's better to go smaller, and you have to kind of work this petal through. But I'm just going to pull it through, and then I'm going to have it come out the other side. see here. And if you have to make your slits a little bigger, you can. And I'm going to do that because we might be here all night if I don't. Okay, so we'll fold that in half, pull it through. And then we're going to push it up through the other side. And you're going to see how this bunches up. And it's so cute. Okay. Look at how cute that is. Okay. So from here, all I did was make another little snip at the very top of one of the petals. And I took a piece of like a strip and I fed it through. And you see here, I had the black showing. You can do that, or you can have the pink show. I mean, whatever. If you have double-sided leather, you can do whatever you'd like there. And just feed that through. And sometimes an awl makes a difference here. Let me see if I can use the pliers to get it through. And then once I get this through, all I'm going to do is you can either stitch or you can place a small rivet to attach the actual strap. Okay, whatever works. So I'm just going to put a little, and you can either overlap it like this, okay, which is basically I just went like this to do that. Put a small punch. Added a rivet, set the rivet, and pretty much you're done. And then as you attach this, it's a loop attachment. So what you're going to do is take this. I, of course, tried to move the rivet so it was down below the flower here. Okay. And when you attach this to your bag, you're actually going to take it and loop it through whatever strap you want, loop it through itself, and then let that hang. Okay, and just pull it tight. And then you have your little flower. Isn't that cute? So some beads would be a nice touch. Yes, they would. They would be amazing. They would be really beautiful. And then another thing you could do is if you wanted to, you could right here, punch a hole and put either a rivet or like a purse foot, and that would kind of give the flower a center. I think that would be really pretty. You could also edge paint this if you want. Okay. So that is how you do that. Okay. Super simple. Now some of these bag charms sell for a lot of money, like a lot of money. It shocks me how much they sell for. So if we can make them, why not make them? Okay. All right, the next bag charm I want to show you is called the Picasso, okay? And it kind of looks like this, okay? It's kind of a cool looking thing. And it attaches to the bag the same way as the flower. So here's a picture of it here. Portland Leather had it. It's called the Picasso Tassel. Now, this one's a little bit more involved, and I'm going to show you what I did. I happen to have a ruler. We're going to go to the overhead, and it is called the Easy Circle Cut. I want to say we maybe have this linked on our Amazon store, but basically you have these half circles, okay? So what you're going to do is line, you have a line here at the bottom, and I'm sorry for the glare, that you line that up on the edge of your fabric. And then you go ahead and just cut your half circle. So when you're done, you end up with pieces that look like this. Now, I cut this off. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. But I started out with a 6-inch measurement. So I did a 6-inch, and then I did in the blue, and then I did a 5-inch in the brown. And then I did a 4-inch in the blue, and then I did a 3-inch in the brown. And then I finished out with a 2-inch in the blue. So I alternated, okay? I also cut a strap. So from here, we are going to start out with a blue. And you can see I already cut tassels in here on a few of them. You're going to start out with the blue. And then we're going to cut the tassels in here. And then on top, I'm going to put a brown. And the brown is not going to have any tassels cut in. Then I'm going to put a blue. And it looks like I actually cut the straight edge in the wrong direction. So we're going to pretend that's in the right direction. And brown, we may pretend that's in the right direction. And then the blue, I cut in the right direction. Okay, so here's what we're going to end up with. Just like that. And then you're going to take a tassel or a piece of fabric here or a strip. And I just pulled up this back one, stuck it right in between, and just punched a hole right there. And then ended up with this really cool tassel. Now, I think it's kind of neat that you see the back of this, you know, the back of a few of these. I mean, why not? The back of fabric looks great. To cut once I cut my circles, what I did was I lined the top of the circle up with an inch line, and then I cut a 1/2 inch off to get a nice straight edge at the top, because you do want a straight edge, which is why you see all of these little pieces are straight at the top. Okay. The other thing I did is on the blue pieces, I marked down a 1/2 inch with a silver marking pen. And from there, I'm just going to go ahead and cut my tassels in. Now, I also do have a tassel cut ruler. Okay. These things are super handy. And I'm just going to line that up on the line itself that I drew. And then with a rotary cutter, I'm going to go ahead, or you can use a straight edge too, like a craft knife. I'm just going to go ahead and cut in these tassels. Now, what you want to make sure of is when you get to the end, you have a circle here. So you got to be careful you don't cut off part of your tassel. You might have to do the last few by hand, is what I found. So I'm going to go up as far as I can, and then I'm going to stop. If I need to, I'll go ahead and cut the rest of the way with my scissors up to my line. Looks like I forgot one here. I'll go ahead and cut that in. The great thing about tassels is they do not need to be perfect. Okay. Got one more there I missed. Let me go ahead and cut that. And cut all the way up to this line. And then you can see here, here's the last one. If I cut up to the line, I'm going to cut that whole section off. So I don't want to do that. So on this last little bit, I'm just going to cut smaller tassel pieces. Okay. So again, I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to put my strap. I'm going to lay a brown down on top of it. And then I'm going to lay the blue. Lay another brown. And then the last blue. And then right here where everything overlaps, I am just going to go ahead and punch a hole. And turn this. I can make my hole big enough. And you could certainly stitch this instead. You do not have to punch a hole. And then once that hole is punched, you're going to install a rivet. And of course, for this color, I would end up doing a bronze rivet, but this will kind of show you what I'm talking about. And then you press that rivet in, and then you have this really cool bag charm. Okay, the Picasso bag charm. Easy enough. Okay, the last thing that I want to show you is probably the more complex of them all, although it's not difficult. You just need to learn how to braid, do a 4-length braid. Now, I really wanted to, we're going to go to the overhead so I can show this to you. I really wanted to have a tassel-like thing, but without it being just a traditional tassel, okay? I wanted something a little more fun. So I used 2 different colors of leather here. I used cream and I used black. And I did this really cool rounded braid, okay? And then I just knotted it, nothing fancy, and let the remaining part hang. So let me show you how to do this braid and how I did this. And then of course I just have a spring gate O-ring here that I would attach it to my bag. You can use any width of leather. I'm using the real leather that you can get on Amazon. These are just spools. They're they're an 1/8 of an inch. So I think a 1/4 of an inch would be even better than the 1/8 of an inch, because the 1/8 of an inch is kind of small, but you'll kind of get the idea as we go through. Okay. And again, you can get these off Amazon. These are real leather pieces, real leather lacing, and you can get them all different kinds of color. This is 50 feet, so it gives you a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with 4 strands. So I have 2 of my cream color, and I have 2 of my black color. Let me get them all lined up here. And they don't have to be perfect. Okay, so in order to get, so I have tassel on both ends, I'm going to come down, you know, about, let's see how, first of all, how long I cut these. I cut these about 1 yard. So I'm going to come down, you know, about 1/4 of a yard and just go ahead and tie a knot, a loose knot here. We're going to take this knot out, so don't get it too tight because it might be hard to come out. Okay. So once that's in, I'm going to take my 4 strands, and we're going to try to zoom in just a tad on this. Okay. And you're going to make sure that your strands are alternating in color. Okay, so you see here, I've got cream, black, cream, black. You're going to take the 2 middle strands, which is 1 of each color, and let's say this is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, in order. I'm going to take number 3. I'm going to put it over number 4. So now I have 2 black strands on the right and 2 black strands on the left. Okay, I'm putting number 3 over number 2. Sorry about that. 3 over number 2. Okay, so now all my cream is on one side and all my black is on one side. That's going to be your key, is you're going to keep the same, like each color on its own side. So now I'm going to take strand number 4. I'm going to put it behind everything and come up between the 2 cream strands. Okay, and flip it over the middle strand so it's back on the other side with its partner over here. Okay, so again, black over here, the cream's over here. And you can see a little bit of a braid starting here, and then you have this kind of rogue one out here at the top. You're always going to take that rogue one at the top, and that's the one you're going to feed behind everything, come up between the 2 strands on the other side, and then put it back on its correct side. Okay, so now again, I kind of have the braid going right here, and I have my rogue strand up here. I'm going to take this strand, I'm going to put it behind and come up through the other 2 strands, fold it over so it's back over here. So now the braid's going from side to side. Okay, so now you see I've got kind of this rogue one up here. I'm going to take it, go from behind, go through the 2 strands on the other side, and then fold it over so it's over on its correct side. Okay, so that makes sense. So essentially what we're doing each time is we're taking the strand that's at the top by itself, and we're going behind and then through the 2 strands on the other side and folding it over so it's back on its correct side. So now my black is the rogue strand. I'm going to come up behind, go through and have it be on the correct side. Okay. And then, of course, I have two left over here, or the one left over here. That's the top one. That's the one that's going to go behind. And we're just going to keep doing this. So you're going to keep on with this process until you are happy with the length. Okay. And what's going to happen is it's going to kind of create this really cool, you can see it starting to form this kind of really cool pattern where you've got like a neat looking braid there. Okay. Isn't that cool? So again, you're just going to keep on and on and on. I could be doing this, you know, for a while. So we're just going to pretend that this is as far as I want it to go. And once I am done as far as, you know, I want, then what I'm going to do is take the strands. I'm going to unknot this side. I'm going to hold this other side here and take the knot out of here, which is why you didn't want to put the knot in too tight. Okay. And then I'm going to put them together. And then I'm just going to tie one big knot. Now, there are some really fancy knots that you can do to make this look really cool, but we're just going to keep this simple. Pull all the strands through. And then go ahead and tie your knot super tight. It looks like I got one rogue strand here that didn't make it through. Put that through. Okay. And you can certainly play with this and make sure that it looks nice. Okay, the knot. And then you just give it a haircut, so as long as you want your tassel. Okay, and then you can attach this however you want. Like I said, you can either use a Springate O-ring, you could slide a D-ring on or something, but you need to make sure you have a way to attach it to the bag. You could, you know, use a piece of leather to tie it on the bag. And then you have a kind of a cool little accent made with leather and has a way to add some color and, you know, be super fun. Okay. So those are bag charms. Now, I know that that is the start for a lot of you. Your wheels are turning and you are going to come up with some really cool bag charms. We actually have some pieces of double-sided leather, some scraps that we're going to try to get on the website, just have little packs. We have the pink and the black, like I did the flower with. We have the black with the blue. That would be like a cool flower as well. This is double-sided leather. It's taupe on both sides, which really you could do some cool things with. And we have another one that has gray on both sides. So a lot of our scraps are small like this, but we feel like we could certainly get them into some kind of little grab bag. They're not going to be much, just enough for you to maybe make some bag charms with. So be watching on the website for that, and we'll certainly send an email out when we have those ready to go. Okay. Is there any questions? If you have any questions, we'll certainly take a look. Any questions? Nope, no questions. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Artistry Avenue. And this is where we feature you, our customers. We love Artistry Avenue. You guys are so talented, and we love seeing the bags that you make. These are bags that are posted either on the Simply Classic Facebook community or that we emailed to share at simplyclassic.net. If we feature your bag, you get a free PDF pattern of your choice. You have 30 days to email share at simplyclassic.net to let us know which pattern you'd like. So let's take a look at this week's artists. So Kim made another beautiful leather farfalla. She actually made a few of these in different colors, and this time she used an aged light blue for the main body and the toggle. And then she used black leather for the strap in the bottom. Isn't this beautiful? She actually skyed her leather too. It was a little bit thicker. So beautiful. Love the aged effect of this. And let me tell you, the farfalla is a really great one to do in leather because of the lack of really bulky seams. And because, you know, you need to use a fairly soft leather because it folds in the front, of course, but I mean, it is a beautiful bag. We have a gorgeous plumberry one running around here somewhere, leather one that is beautiful. It's really a good bag to make out of leather. So Cindy Lou made this gorgeous Roseanne, and she actually downsized it to 90%. And the hardware is really cool. She did an excellent job adding that. Really gives the bag a lot of personality. She also added a zipper pocket on the back and made a custom pull for it. Isn't that pretty? Love the strap connectors. So these are like little tweaks and little hacks that she did to make this her own. And that is exactly why we sew, right? I mean, this is beautiful. So I love it. And then finally, Stephanie made this amazing Zara. So she used real leather and hair on hide. So that like center panel over there on the left is actually hair on hide. And it is absolutely gorgeous. I love that she used the paisley lining and carried that over to the matching wallet. That triangle piece on the wallet kind of mimics the shape of the Zara, and they really work well together. I'm not sure if that's a modification to the wallet or if that was something she added, but it is absolutely beautiful. So very clever. Love this so much. Gorgeous, gorgeous bag. So thank you to all of our featured artists, Kim, Cindy, and Lou, and Stephanie, for sharing your amazing makes. Don't forget to email share@simplyclassic.net within the next 30 days to let us know which PDF pattern you'd like. So before we move on to our Q&A, we're going to talk about our giveaways. We're giving away 2 PDF patterns, one to a live stream winner, or live stream viewer, and one from the chat for the replay. So if you're watching live on Thursday, here's how to enter. All you need to do is enter the word charmed, 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 in the chat. Please only enter the keyword one time. And if you're watching the replay, so you want to put this on the replay video, you can also enter to win. Just leave a comment that includes 2 things: your first name, and just for fun, your worst sewing habit. What is your worst sewing habit? I think my worst sewing habit is probably not putting things away as I use them. And then when I go to try to find it again, it's not there. I do really good when I'm through the bag. I will clean up and put everything back where it goes. And then I kind of start the process all over again. And then I can't find half the things as I'm going through. So that's probably my worst habit. I need to do better with that. So you have until next Wednesday to enter, and I'll randomly choose a winner on next week's episode. So let's take a look at a couple questions we had. This first one is from Joseph in the Facebook group. And he said, I put a D-ring on my bag, but it kept wanting to turn on itself, even with rivets. And he wanted to know if I had any suggestions for that. And a few of you made suggestions in the Facebook group, which is amazing. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you need to be, because so many people are talented there and you guys help each other out. And I love that. But I do have a small piece here that I wanted to show, because I do have another suggestion that I think would be great. And it was here and it has disappeared on me. So we're going to make do. So we're going to go to the overhead. And what I suggest is, if you have a small strap and you put a D-ring on here, and the D-ring keeps wanting to turn on you, and maybe you can't quite get the stitching close enough to prevent that from happening, you could do a couple things. You could just punch a hole and put a rivet super close to the end of the D-ring. Or another thing you could do is, and I've done this before, is you can actually use like the smallest hole on your hole punch. And depending on how thick your strap is, punch 2 holes in the strap, one right next to each other. And then use some of your bonded nylon thread and a hand needle and just go in and out of those holes over and over until you get a really nice stitch there, hand stitch. And then you can just tie it off and burn the ends. And it looks like a super nice stitch here, and you can get it super close to your D-ring. Okay. So that would be my suggestion. I think that would be a really cool solution for that. So then Karen asks, she asked on YouTube, can I use a very soft vinyl as a lining? And, you know, my answer to that's yes. I mean, I think you can try to pretty much use anything you want as lining. And I think a really soft vinyl would be beautiful. You know, leather bags are lined with leather. A lot of times, you know, the true leather bags, a lot of times the insides, the kind of suede inside is leather. So there's no reason why you can't line a faux leather or vinyl bag with vinyl. You just want to make sure your seams don't get too thick. A lot of times that's kind of the point that, or the thing that makes it kind of difficult, is because the seams get too thick. So as long as you can keep those seams nice and thin, I say go for it. And we'd love to see it. Make sure you post it in the Facebook group. So let's see if we have a winner. So Trisha Jurgensen, congratulations. So make sure you email share@simplyclassic.net within the next 24 hours if you can, and we'll go ahead and send you whatever pattern you would like. And I want to say Trisha is in our Nina class right now. So yeah, I'm sure she's enjoying it. We had a great Zoom last night. So next week we will be back, and that'll be March 26th at 7 p.m. We'll be talking about unique strap connectors. You know, we've talked about strap connectors in the past, and you know, you like talking about that. A lot of you wanted that subject. So we're going to go ahead and do unique strap connectors and see what we could come up with and look at some cool things. So don't forget to submit your Simply Classic makes by posting them in the Facebook group or by emailing share@simplyclassic.net. And please remember to click that thumbs up button on the way out. So until next week, everybody, happy sewing.